Hi guys, I'm back with a little news. See this sim? He's unhappy. I had to torture him for hours and test what's going on with the game's mood system. And the only good thing about it is the synchronized leaking. Speaking of leaks, let's quickly look at some recent news before we get into what's going on. First up, EA made a recent mistake when it leaked what we presume is at least a candidate icon for The Sims next game pack. 3 moons? Are we finally getting werewolves? That'd be cool, but it's such a little clue to go off of. Could it instead be a chunk of Swiss cheese the size of a city block with a god ray illuminating the bottom to direct wary travelers? I think this is just as viable as other theories. It is The Sims. Tons of players are speculating on this little thing, but I really don't do that because it feels fairly useless. Not to be a downer, we just don't really know anything beyond this right now, so it's hardly telling us anything. I do remember them saying they were doing more things that they had not done before, and this seems to fit that mold, so there you have it. Moving along to more things. We all know Sims tries very hard to be super inclusive, but it's not done so hot in some areas. Black Simmers and people of other ethnicities have said for a while now that the game's skin tones are crap. To put it simply, there are either not enough shades, or those shades look unrealistic in lighting or with makeup, and they have to turn to custom content to fix it. Guess what you can't do on a PlayStation? Anyway, this just exploded in recent weeks. I think that a CC creator being on Sims Sparked, that show,
came out with the Melanin pack that added about 30 additional skin tones to the game.
That may have helped to light up discussion on this and get the attention of some big YouTubers. Something did, because suddenly tons of people were talking about it. So on that note, we got a message from Lindsay Pearson, the executive producer and general manager of The Sims 4. She's so important she has 2 titles. I got to pick my own and went with CEO. Of course. No, not really. To sum it up, she said stuff about being inclusive, trying to be a diverse game, and that it'd be high priority this fall. This has been a problem since launch, but I guess we see the impact of players rallying around a problem. Maybe we can pick gameplay and features working as intended next. Or you can do my bidding and try to get that real estate system put in. I believe in you. So, are you relieved to hear better skin tones are coming? Let me know. I read all the comments on new videos, I'm just not always fast. On to the main topic. So the past few weeks, many players have wasted time trying to figure out why the game doesn't give you decorated buffs. Since the Eco Lifestyle patch back in June, they've become really unreliable. I think there's a bug for people who can get none, but they also changed the system. The patch notes for that patch says only that wallpaper and other build items can now contribute to environment scores. So you can use certain pretty patterns and such to make your sim happy if you get enough points. That's great and all, but here's the thing. They didn't just do that. They did several other things that have been driving some veteran players nuts. Oh yeah, and me, because I probably need to update multiple guides for what seems like no reason. So, the old way, you get enough points, you get +1 to +3 happy for nicely decorated or beautifully decorated. It's a reward for sinking money into your Sim's house. It's a fine system and no need to touch it. But now, it's random. Because reasons. So I did some testing with suits of armor. I wanted to make sure these Sims saw the suits of armor. Look at them, you idiots. What I found was total randomness. I know what you're thinking. More randomness is exactly what's needed. I tried a lot of paintings. It doesn't matter that they're the same, and don't mind the curtain clipping because that doesn't matter either. All in all, same result. My sim gets random moodlets and it comes and goes. So now you could put 20 to 30,000 simoleons into decorating a room and your sim will get a random buff based on the scores you're eligible for. +3 happens so infrequently it may as well not exist. And will only give you a buff for 2 hours when it does kick in. It's very blah. While the buff sticks around when you leave the room, the maddening thing is that it's all of 2 hours long. And there's this cooldown between until you can get the buff again. No buffs should be 2 hours unless it's a side attraction. I have a personal hatred for super short moodlets. They're nearly useless. So this doesn't help the mood shifting of Sims much at all. It means they instead get happy and 2 hours later lose the buff, wait an hour and they get the buff again. All while in the same room. Isn't that good? Very good. Look, sinking money into getting decorated into rooms that matter, that's one of the main goals for the game, and it's been watered down by this. It's a game where everything is easy. It's odd to nerf such a specific thing. So that's one reason I feel that this isn't a good change. And some players are encountering bugs where they can't get the bonuses at all because it's been messed with. To add to that, poorly decorated wasn't working for me. Fill up a room with drywall and get nothing out of that. I guess it needs something else to reach a higher negative score, lower negative score. But who knows what items count for poorly decorated and if you even need to build around it. Like, yeah, unfinished rooms should make Sims unhappy, but I can't even get that to work. So the changes to the system are lost on me. Letting higher quality building materials and wallpaper give some points is good, but they seem to give so little points that it doesn't matter. There is one good change here. Apparently when slobs have visits from other Sims, they'll get embarrassed for their friends to see them in horrible conditions. Kind of as a drawback for not being affected by plates of rotten food strewn all over your Sim's neckbeard nest. There's something about snobs too, but I can't be bothered to care. Undocumented changes are annoying enough, but those that do not seem to serve any purpose and just upset a part of the game that people understood fairly well, it just does nothing for the gameplay problems with Sims 4 and feels like wasted resources that could have went toward making some other area deeper in a sensible way. It also wastes a lot of people's time looking up why it's not working like it normally does. And they assume that it's a bug when it's a deliberate change. But there is a second group here, as I said, people who cannot get the buffs at all. And as I said, that's apparently because the system was modified. I got sick recently and was ill for about 2 weeks. I didn't get tested, though my partner did, and she got a negative for what's going around. We had the same thing, but that negative wasn't very helpful. It just made us more confused. I had all of these, but those have eased up now. Just a bit of problems with breathing and my throat now. False negatives are more a problem than false positive for the test we took. That happens to be the common and most reliable one, so people who say there are lots of false positives on the PCR test are full of shit. I feel a lot better, but I'm gonna ease back into work and take time off here and there where I can. It rattled me a bit, and you bet I'm getting an antibody test to find out if I can be worry-free in the near future. At least for my own health. Thanks to everyone on Twitter who wished me well. You can follow me there for more reliable updates. I'm very relieved to say it turned out okay for both of us. That's all I have to say for now. Go back to not decorating your Sims homes because the system is broken. I wish they'd discuss changes like this with the community. Some of you have great ideas they should listen to. All in all, Sims needs to let me live my childhood dream. I want my real estate system so I can learn to build and make money as a slumlord.